Okay, welcome back to Bonn. I'm here with Eglantine Goux from France Nature Environment, and I'm sure you'll tell me how to pronounce that correctly in French in a second. Perhaps the first thing you could do is introduce the organisation for me.
Hello, so I'm Eglantine Goux from France Nature Environnement. It's a French federation of other associations and NGOs working on the ground in France, like we have FRAPNA, LPO, and etc. in our member. We have more we have almost 3,000 associations which are a member of FNE, directly or not directly. And I'm working on forest governance in general, so it's also on certification and on the European law against illegal logging and red aspect, of course, because I'm here.
And you've been following these talks now for the last 2 weeks, and we've just seen them kind of gradually come to a head in the plenary session. What's been your sense of the progress here in Bonn?
Well, we can feel that parties are really engaged and they want to produce something in Cancun, I think. They want to produce something to present as a result in Cancun. But we can feel a difference and a separation between developed countries and developing countries, because there is this big problem of Protocol of Kyoto. What will be done? What will be due after 2012? Because it is the end of Protocol of Kyoto. There is a very good action plan. There is an action plan of Bali from previous session of this UNFCCC, saying very, very clearly that developing countries need to have commitments, requirements to reduce their emission of GHS and include other developed countries which are not members of Protocol of Kyoto. This is a way to introduce countries like US, like China, like India also, which are in process, in transition, and there is a lot of also emission in these countries. And so this was a good step. And now I have the feeling that the developing country in negotiation, they doesn't want to have commitment, but more voluntary pledges, voluntary system of emission of reductions. And developing countries ask the developed countries to engage themselves in reduction emission and also in financing red aspects, for a green fund, like it was the case in Copenhagen. So we will see what happened in August and in October. What is very positive that it's the most developing countries like Brazil, like Bolivia, they push a lot for a strong agreement between parties in Cancun on financement aspect and on emission reduction also.
It's interesting you say it's very positive that these countries are pushing for strong targets. Do you think there's a risk that it might result in and that maybe again in Cancun we'll have another situation which is perhaps similar to Copenhagen, where all of these countries come together and then nothing is agreed or very little is agreed? And if that happens, is there a risk that this process, the UNFCCC process, will be undermined?
We never know what will happen. I don't want to pronounce on the result of Cancun, but what I can say, it's for NGO side, it's urgent to be involved more and more, to ask for a strong position from our countries, to discuss with, for example, French NGOs, to discuss with French government, to to have a strong position for the next session of UNFCCC. And I would like to say we must fight again up to Cancun, and we try.
Just sitting in the plenary hall there, and I was watching people walk out, including Yvo de Boer, looking a little disconsolate, looking quite unhappy, and yet you seem optimistic, which is a nice way to finish our coverage here. And do you think that's right? You think that if we continue campaigning and continue our activism here, then we can still achieve what needs to be achieved?
Well, I think why we will have occasion to be present and to say what we want to do, what we see as a good agreement for the climate and for the forest. We must do it, just do it. And yes, there is some strong countries that doesn't want to go ahead in this agreement and want to reduce the commitment and want to reduce their obligation regarding developing countries, but we must go ahead. We must be very pragmatic, and there is already some scientists that are saying that there is a high risk with increasing in temperature, and up to now it's not sufficient. It's not enough, the proposition of developed countries. So, I prefer to say we want to push again and again, and after we can see what is the strategy to adopt if there is no agreement in Cancun.
Well, it's the World Cup kicking off here today, and "Just Do It" is a famous sports slogan, so perhaps that's a nice way to leave our coverage of the conference. And Eglantine, thank you very much for joining us, and hopefully we'll see you in Cancun with some good news. Thank you.